Hello, everyone. It's Michael Jaco with Unleashing Intuition Secrets. So we're seeing the continual chopping at America from the Democrat Party and the intended destruction of America. Now we'll look deeper into how the Democrat Party wokeism, basically intention of destroying American culture, make it more vulnerable. We're going to look at all of the different, Nigeria just got struck by President Trump. What does that mean? All the way back to, I think it was February, where we struck a Somali cave that had ISIS leaders in it. Somalian, right? Where in America are a lot of Somalians that are part of a lot of fraud that we're going to find out, and we have been finding out. They're using that to fund terrorists in Minnesota. So this fraud is being exposed. President Trump is potentially stopping out what could be multiple Black Hawk Downs throughout American cities, right? And by hitting foreign terrorist groups and stopping cargo ships from going to different places like Iran, from China, with U.S. military forces, and stopping oil coming from Venezuela going to China with U.S. military SEALs. Thank you, and then using that oil to fund our military operations against them, right? So with Juan O'Savin on last night, talking about how China is funded by the City of London. City of London controls China, right? And they probably control Iran too. And they control Ukraine. So it sounds like we need to do a strike on the City of London in my warrior's mind. But, I evidently that's not going to happen, maybe not anytime soon. But they're destroying Europe just like they're trying to destroy America. The rape numbers in Europe are through the roof, right? So they had all this illegal immigration from areas where rape is completely acceptable. And what do you think is going to happen when you bring people like that into your country? Hello. So that's what we're seeing here in America too. We saw a lot of that happening here. And of course, the raping of American women has been pretty catastrophic as well. So the destruction of America by the Democrat Party, I've talked about it for years. It seems like it doesn't really get any traction. But I think now and going into next year, it's really going to pick up pace, right? And there's going to be a lot of people very, very unhappy with the Democrat Party, seeing what they're up to. So more and more reveals are coming, just like we're seeing in Minneapolis, Minnesota as a whole, right? And then, of course, that's going to translate into other Democrat hellhole states, right? So let's look at some of this, and it's going to be very enlightening. I know many people still are under the impression the Democrat Party is good. Many are still under that impression, right? We need to educate people and help them understand that that is not the case, and until we do, we're going to have the possibility of cities being basically destroyed. All right, Iran's president has claimed that his country is in an all-out war with the West, days before Donald Trump meets with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. So he said that full-scale war with the U.S., Israel, and Europe was worse than Iran's war with Iraq in the 1980s, in which hundreds of thousands of people died. We are in a full-scale war with the U.S., Israel, and Europe. They do not want our country to stand on its feet, right? So, yes, that's true, right? We want your regime replaced, and so do the people of Iran want your regime replaced. Now, will the people of Iran be able to, strike back and take down their regime? They have definitely been in the process of that. Of course, every time they try that, there's hell to pay for that. But I think we're going to see I firmly believe that next year, Iran, the leadership of Iran will go away. U.S. commandos raided ship traveling from China to Iran, seized dual-use tech. Now, they don't say what that dual-use tech is. It says transporting dual-use military technology. So dual use, I don't know, for, hammering the people of your country, right, that are trying to rise up against you, and also for military targets that are coming in to destroy you, as we've been seeing with Israel and the U.S. Trying to take out its nuclear capabilities. All right, so the ship's name, its owner, and the flag under which it was sailing have not been disclosed. Neither Iran nor China immediately responded to the report, right? So Navy SEALs went on and seized it. Also, like I talked about earlier, there's a seizure that took place weeks before with U.S. troops seizing a Venezuelan oil tanker in the Caribbean Sea and stole its cargo in a move Caracas condemned as theft and piracy. Now, that was supposed to go to China as well. China. So we're basically, stopping out the capability of Venezuela to fund its military control system. The people of course, there's people that are in Venezuela that support that government. And so I don't think we're going to go in and, hammer it, but we're basically going to squeeze it till it's out of existence. Now, Iran, speaking of, so it's a triangle that's going on there, where Iran has sent a lot of its people, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of people into Venezuela over several years, and they're all in Venezuela. And they've helped it, build its military, Hezbollah and Hamas from Iran. So that's one of the reasons why we're going after Iran. Multiple reasons, of course, we're going after Venezuela. Election fraud that they used on us from Venezuela. Of course, in Colorado, Tren de Aragua, that is basically running the Colorado government to a great extent. And we're talking about that, how the Colorado governor is a very corrupt person, obviously, and it's part of the Democrat system. They've gone corrupt, and I'll talk about how and why the Democrat system has gone corrupt, and how they're trying, like I said, to bring in wokeism and destroy America. All right, so destroy America from within, and then leave it open to Somali warlords to start to take down cities and so forth, like they did in Somalia, where we had Black Hawk Down. All right, so it's going to be very interesting. U.S. airstrikes against ISIS in Nigeria. So ISIS has spread quite a bit throughout the world. We took them down, in Iraq, but they have spread to other countries, Syria and so forth. So ISIS airstrikes against Nigeria raised questions over strategy and analysis. So on Christmas Day, so Trump had warned them, about, their strikes on Muslim extremists, their strikes on Christians. And they have been very aggressively, killing Christians in Nigeria. So for years, extremist groups such as Boko Haram have been carrying out atrocities in northern Nigeria, and it's a problem across Africa, where various terrorist groups operate. Now, a lot of these are funded, as we're probably going to find out, and I can't say that right up front, but a lot of these, I think we're going to find out that China is funding, and and Iran. So with Iran and China, pushing terrorism around the world, they're going to be pushed back on. And again, I think it's because of the the British are pushing this. The British Empire still is alive and well throughout the world through the city of London. I previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there would be hell to pay. And tonight, there was. The Department of War executed numerous perfect strikes, as only the United States is capable of doing. Under my leadership, Donald Trump, of course, our country will not allow radical Islamic terrorism to prosper. So if we hit it where it's strongest overseas, then it's conduits back to the United States are being taken out. So it's easier for us if we take down. Speaking to you as a military expert, if we take down the where the source is, we destroy the source, and then as they're trying to come in like octopus, with all these tentacles, with the cartels and so forth, that are taken over by a lot of Hamas and Hezbollah and Chinese. So if we basically destroy them outside of the U.S., they don't have the funding, they don't have the ability. We're basically taking down their, capabilities of, keeping the dialogue and so forth, to taking away the leadership. So that's what I did when I was overseas working with the CIA. We would go after the leadership of terrorist groups. And a lot of times that would eventually, destroy those terrorist groups. Of course, other groups like SEAL Team 6 and Delta and some other groups would actually hit targets very effectively in Afghanistan and in Pakistan, and basically take down those groups on a massive level, right? So we have been doing this for a long time, and 20 years, over 20 years, on a physical level. So we've been, even all the way back when I was in, 30 years ago, we were looking at going in and having to rescue, potentially when I was at SEAL Team 6, going in to rescue, leadership and oil companies and so forth in Venezuela. Unfortunately, that did not happen. Basically, they seized all that money, equipment, and oil, everything that U.S. and Britain, all those oil companies had in Venezuela. They just seized it. So we're going to take it back, right, at some point. But we're not going to take it all. The people of Venezuela will become, once we go in and clean out the terrorists that are running that country, Venezuela will become one of the most wealthiest countries in the world. And the people will prosper like crazy. They will go back to Venezuela. Now, the same thing will happen in Iran once that, terrorist organization that's running Iran gets taken down. I don't know when the terrorist organization in the city of London gets taken down, but at some point, I believe it will be, right? And it's fomenting a lot of the problems in Europe and all around the world. So at some point, it will have to be targeted. I don't know what kind of kinetic, if there's going to be a kinetic strike or just squeeze them to they don't have the money anymore. But at some point, the city of London goes down, right? So under my leadership, like he says, we will not allow radical Islamic terrorism to prosper even here in the United States. They're going after it here in the United States as well. May God bless our military, and Merry Christmas to all. This was a nice Christmas present to the Christians in Nigeria, and they said so, in fact. They were very happy that these strikes happened. Imagine you're in, I don't know, Minneapolis, and Somali terrorists are basically killing Christians, right? And so there's a strike that finally happens, and the Christians that survive, there in Minneapolis would be very happy about that. So just kind of a little speculation of what's to come in some of these areas, guys. All right, we need to start talking about this. We need to talk about it very seriously. All right, so because they're going to say, "Oh, he's a hater," but I'm going to show you. There's a little film where they are the haters. They are the fascists. They are the people that don't like white people, right? So I can tell you that from all the people that I spoke with after Black Hawk Down, some of my SEAL buddies that were there. It was they didn't like Whitey, right? And they tried to kill Whitey as much as they could. So, and of course we're there trying to feed them, help them, and that turned into be a goat rope. Thanks to the Democrat leadership of Bill Clinton, right? So let's look at a little Black Hawk Down scene so you can see what it might look like in some of the U.S. cities if we don't start cleaning these a-holes out.
When everybody else is shooting the same direction. You ever shot at anybody before?
No, sir.
Me neither.
Once that first bullet goes past your head, politics go right out the window.
Hey, baby's ready. You there? Pick up if you're there. I love you, baby. RPG!
My men are surrounded by thousands of Somali militia. I need help now.
Where's the rescue squad?
We're in.
I can't do it. It's what you do right now that makes a difference.
People ask me, why do you do it, man? They want to understand it's about the men next to you.
Don't let that man crawl! Somebody help that man!
That's all it is.
No one gets left behind, you know that.
All right, so that's coming for U.S. cities. Now I've seen this. I and other psychics have seen this. We've talked about this for at least a decade. That we see this happening, just like you saw in Black Hawk Down in U.S. cities, right? So this is what the Democrat Party is bringing to America. And there's a lot of people that are, like as I say, consciously compromised. They still believe in the Democrat Party and will still mindlessly support the Democrat Party, even as it's very obvious that they're extremely corrupt, as we're seeing right now in Minnesota. So let's look at Nick Shirley. Nick Shirley has done a really good job. Just 24-year-old out there, hitting the streets, being a reporter, like we used to have reporters. Of course, the mainstream media is completely compromised, but we have, independent journalism now that really is making a difference.
Was write the check.
So right here we have all this paperwork. And how are you getting all this information about the fraud?
A lot of it is through my own research. And then I have some contacts at the Capitol going back many, many years. And so the data that I'm getting is 100% accurate, coming directly from research done by people at the state Capitol.
All this paperwork right here, what are we looking at?
The areas of fraud that I have numbers for are mostly related to childcare. This is massive fraud that is beyond anyone's imagination, the scope. And so, for example, there's a child care not far from here in Minneapolis that has two child cares listed at the same address. And together, they're licensed supposedly for 120 children. I have never seen a single child there ever. And I've been by that place at least 100 times. Here than anywhere else ever in history, anywhere.
We're going to go run these people. We're going to go to these daycare centers. We're going to see what's actually happening. Daycare center right now is right here. These buildings should be operating as they're receiving literally millions of dollars. I knocked on the door, and to my surprise, somebody actually answered the door. Hello? Can we speak? I would like to check a child in the daycare. Can I speak to a manager? Where can I get paperwork to file for my son? I wanted to put my son Joey in daycare. And after a few questions, the lady went silent. Looks like little Joey Shirley ain't going to daycare here. And now where are we going?
Now we're going to Sweet Angel Childcare.
We're in the middle of a strip mall here inside of this neighborhood.
In fiscal year 2025, this facility, which has its license for 74 kids, was paid $1.26 million in tax money. And there are no kids, and all the facilities are the same way, all of them.
Let's see if anyone opens.
Yeah, let's see.
Once again, I try to find a spot for my son Joey, and they would not open the door. I want to put my son Joey in daycare. Cuz I need a spot to put my son Joey. Is this your daycare center?
No, what's there? What's happening?
Well, I just want to put a child in daycare, but all the daycare centers seem to be closed. No one's opening the doors.
You work here?
I was, yeah. What's happening?
Where are the kids?
Huh?
It says it's licensed for 74 children. Right here, state of Minnesota. Where are the kids? They
Huh?
got paid $1.26 million in fiscal year 2025. It says they have a capacity for 74 children.
When? No, when?
Where are the kids? Right here. State of Minnesota website. You work here and you don't know?
I don't know. I was there before. I don't know what's going on.
Were there any kids when you worked here?
It's there. Kids there. What's
How
up?
many?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Yeah.
You worked here. Okay, well, then you're not of any help.
Can I put my son in a daycare here?
No, I don't know.
Can I speak to someone?
No, I don't know.
No? Yeah, I would like to see if I can put my son Joey here.
Who's your son, Joey?
My son Joey. Can I check out daycare center?
I'm gonna my son. No! He's a liar. I'm the owner.
Do you put your kid here in this daycare?
No.
There is one child in there. Yeah, I'd like to know if this is a legit business.
Me, I'm scared of you too. How come I explain everything?
You're scared of me?
Yeah.
Why?
So you're scared.
Because of my color. You said you're scared of me because of my color. Does that make you a racist?
Yeah, no.
But
No.
you said you're
I'm
scared
not
of me because of my.
Yeah, no. All right. So I think you guys see, what's going on here. It's money laundering. They're taking the money from the people of Minnesota, and it's going to terrorist groups, right? And these terrorist groups are, formulating very strongly outside the U.S. In Africa, right, where Somalia is, and they're helping to fund terrorists in some Nigeria, where we just did the airstrike. So it is a situation that we need to be aware of, and we need to start to push back on. And we need to bring this awareness throughout the United States. These are some of the things that I've known for quite a long time. I've been talking about this for a while. Now we're getting, we're seeing it. So independent journalists are bringing this out. There was a congressman, Republican congressman. I saw him talking today on Fox News, where he said they were doing this investigation years ago, like a decade ago, and they knew about the Somali corruption, and they did an investigation, and it was shut down. They shut down the investigation. So, this is the power of we, the people, doing independent investigations, independent journalism like I am. So if we continue this, we can destroy this corrupt system. We're getting very good at it now, and it's very important for us to maintain our country, because we're losing our country to the Democrat Party, right? Which is extremely corrupt and is not part of the United States. It's part of the corporation. It's part of the City of London, and of course, the city of Vatican City. So all of this is in DC. Now, DC has basically been taken over by Donald Trump and team. So that doesn't exist anymore. And that's how we're starting to see all of this this corruption start to be revealed. And it's crumbling. Now, Kash Patel has just come out and said that the FBI headquarters is basically being permanently closed. And they're going to move into, they had planned on their Biden administration to build like a $3 or $6 billion, it probably would have turned out to be a $6 billion new FBI headquarters. They got shut down when Trump came in. And they're going to move into a Reagan office building. I don't know if Reagan built it, but it was named after him. So it's going to be just perfect for them. It'll save a lot of money. You know how President Trump is like that. And so Kash Patel said he's going to push a lot of people out to, out into the field. They don't need to be in headquarters. They need to be out in the field doing the work that they're supposed to be doing, catching criminals like these Somalis. So speaking of which, Kash Patel said he's really going to start to go after this Somali fraud with the FBI. And he said it is the tip of the iceberg. Now, he's talking about the fraud level, but is he also talking about something else, right? Is he talking about terrorist activities that were planned for the U.S.? Now, Juan O'Savin said that Somalis in America would have been part, and maybe still will be, part of terrorist operations in the United States, guys, right? So I've been saying this for a long time. And now we're starting to see the different groups that probably will or would maybe be involved in this, right? So this is something that it should be a very eye-opener for a lot of you, and I hope it is. And for some of you, you're like, I knew it. I knew it too, Mike. I knew it too. All right, so good for you. All right, so Kash Patel says FBI investigating Minnesota fraud scheme. Let me share the screen. So I'm gonna pull some of these up so we can look at these. These are very important. So you get other areas of the federal government getting involved. That's going to be very, very important. FBI investigating alleged fraud scheme in Minnesota. Kash Patel says amid attacks on Somali population. So Republicans have seized on the allegations to attack the state's Somali population and Democrat Governor Tim Walz. That's because they have been suppressed for a decade at least, and they're ready to like kick ass, all right? So kick ass or have your ass kicked, right? That's what I say, right? And that's what we're gonna have to see, guys. We got to stop being, nice, Mr. Nice Guy. And that's what President Trump has been doing. He's not Mr. Nice Guy. And a lot of people don't like him because he's not Mr. Nice Guy, but that's okay with me. All right, update. U.S. forces strike on ISIS Somalia. This was back in February 11th. In coordination with the federal government of Somalia, U.S. Africa Command conducted airstrikes against ISIS Somalia on February 1st, 2025. The joint airstrikes targeted senior ISIS Somalia leadership in a series of cave complexes approximately 50 miles from southeast of Bosaso. So where do you think they got the money? Where did money come from? I've been to Somalia. I was in Somalia on my first, back in, I think it was 1982. Yeah, I'm an old guy. And that was my first SEAL, deployment. And we went to Somalia, and it's just a desert. There was a little town, and some of the sailors had liberty. They went into town, ate something, and got sick, almost died. So when we did our beach landings, we were there like, three times before the Marines came in. That's what we do. We do beach survey. We come back, we chart it out, we go back and make sure it's clear, and then the Marines come in and they land and they go off and do their thing. And there was nothing there but camels and camel herders, right? And you could see way out, they had a mountain range, and that's probably where the airstrikes happened. So not a lot going on in Somalia. They don't have really anything. That's why we came in. We tried to feed them, so they were starving to death. You remember those Michael Jackson? We are the world. We are the blah 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 blah. All right. So all that money went to feed the Somalis, and what did they do in return? They killed us. Right? They killed us. They killed a lot of American men. And so we finally pulled out. And then we just started, under Obama, we just started pulling them in here to America by the millions, right? And boy, that was really smart, wasn't it? No. So we're, kind of effed ourselves on that. So we're going to have to clear them out. Not all of them. I've met many Somalis that are great people. And we're not talking about them. We're talking about the ones that are future terrorists, right? And they're basically taking over cities throughout America. We got to stop it. You got to stop it, guys. They don't integrate. They basically come in. They produce children, and then they become the majority, and then they take over. They start to push out all the whites and all the people that are not Somali or not Muslims. And this is what's happening across America. All right. So we will have to stop it. And I don't know what that's going to look like going forward, but it's got something's going to have to happen, guys. It's bad. It's real bad. All right. So what we're seeing with silver, we've seen silver basically skyrocket. It opened up really high. Now I think that silver, it's way overbought, and it's probably going to get a little bit of a pullback. Do not sell. All right. Don't sell your silver or your silver miners or anything else. All right. Hold on to it. This will be a test for some people. I don't know. Maybe it'll go up. Remember I said 75 to 85 by the end of the year. So earlier it hit, I think, 83 something, and now it's pulling back pretty good. So we'll see how it ends up, by the end of the year. But it needs a little rest. It needs a little bit of a pullback so that we have the opportunity to get it in cheaper. And then it's going to, probably go sideways for a little bit, and then it's going to take off again, guys. We will see, I think, maybe in January, 100 or more in January when it peaks, when it pops again. All right, so it's been on a tear. It doesn't go up. It doesn't go straight up all the time, right? Forever, right? So we said it was going to do a moonshot, so it already has. So now it needs to rest a little bit before it goes to Venus, right? So just keep your eye on it. If you see the pullback and it looks like a nice opportunity for you, of course, then take advantage. Now, spot price right now is 82.63. And I think I saw somewhere where in China, it's $90 an ounce, right? So will it pull back? I think so. Will it go higher? Yes. At some point, much, much higher. Triple digits, easily well into the triple digits next year, right? 300 to 500 next year. And then at some point, it's going to be over 1,000, right? That might take a couple of years or so, but it's a long-term investment, not like your crypto. So your crypto, if you've been holding on your crypto, silver right now is up 190%. Crypto is down 16%. Most of crypto. Some of them are down more, some of them down a little bit less, but pretty much down negative 16% so far this year. All right, so I told you guys, go big into, because I had the dream. I had a dream, and the dream was that XRP was going to go big. So I put everything in XRP. It went big. And then I said, okay, guys, it went big. Now it's time to get out and put it in something else, right? And I think a lot of you guys saw it go big, and you started hearing all these stories about it, like normally happens. It's a crypto speculative, but it's cyclical. It has moments when it goes up and moments when it goes way down. And that's the buying opportunity. So you have to know when to buy them, know when to hold them, know when to fold them, right? So if you didn't fold it, wait around, it'll come back. Whatever you're holding is probably going to go down a lot more, but and who knows? Like I said, it could go higher. There's always a possibility. So be your own best judge, right? And your own psychic, right? Don't listen to this psychic. So, don't get everything right perfectly on time at perfect times, but silver is a long-term hold, right? Now, some people will probably, they see they got, big returns in silver. Get out of debt, right? Get out of debt. Don't sell it all. Sell a portion of it. Get out of debt. Shouldn't have any debt. And that's my best advice to you. I got out of debt long time ago, right? Haven't been in debt for a long time. I fell into the old scheme of, if you want something now, get a loan and pay back a lot of interest. And I remember when I bought my first condo decades ago, and it was like 110 or 15,000. I got a really good deal on it in Virginia Beach. The market had pulled back, so I got a good deal on it. And I looked at, because I had a 30-year loan, VA loan, and after 30 years, I was going to pay it back 3 times the price. I was like, what? Oh, the tax breaks will be good. I keep hearing about these tax breaks. No, they're not good. Tax breaks are not good. And then I rented it out for years. I just maintained pretty much. Had the tax breaks. Basically, someone was paying my mortgage and a little bit more. It wasn't good. So I know a lot of people make money on real estate with my huge returns that I'm getting on silver, which will be even bigger going forward. I plan on getting into real estate, because there's going to be incredible opportunities in real estate. As silver goes up, you're going to see at some point in the market crash, probably 80 to 90%, or maybe even more. And the same thing with housing. So if you have silver, it may pull back with that market crash like it normally does, but then it's going to take off again. All right. So now timing is not a good thing, but I think going forward, you're going to do really, really, really well with silver. So, and I'm not a professional in economics or anything like that, but I have Dr. Kirk Elliott, who will be on Monday, and he's been saying the same thing. So, nanner. All right, so you guys that believe in immigration, and it was kind of interesting because Nick Shirley and that one gentleman that was revealing all the fraud, they went to one place where it was like a child learning center, but they left out the end, so it was a learning center, and it was like no windows, the door was locked, and so they were getting millions too. And so they're like talking outside, and they're knocking on the door, and this woman comes up, and she keeps screaming, "ICE, don't open up, don't open up, ICE." So you got these idiot Democrat morons, and they're even asking her, said, "Do you think it's okay that this child center doesn't have any children in it? They're getting like over $1 million a year. ICE, ICE, don't open up." God. So we'll talk about that. Violence from the leftists. The leftists are like, the right wingers are all violent. They're the true Nazis. And I'm gonna pull up a graph about that. They went full retard this year. All right, speaking of full retard, here we have warning to America. UK and Sweden imported the third world, and suddenly they're leading in rapes.
Unfortunately, let's look at the United Kingdom. This is a graph that shows you the amount of rapes that happen across the European Union per 100,000. In United Kingdom, it is at the very top with 109 rapes per 100,000 people, with Sweden being second with around 86 rapes per 100,000. So you import the third world and you suddenly become the third world. You actually become even worse because places like Botswana, like I told you earlier, have around 92 to 93 rapes per 100,000, and places like Lesotho have around 82 to 83. Both of those countries you've probably never heard of because they're located in Southern Africa, and you can only imagine the status there. But America isn't even importing the migrants from places like Southern Africa. We're straight importing them from the Middle East or Afghanistan, where the rape statistics, we can't really know because they censor it fully, but it's about 40 to 50% of all women experience rape. And if you watch my Sharia videos, you know that it's because it's part of the culture in predominantly Muslim countries. So European countries shouldn't be surprised when they import migrants from there, when their statistics suddenly go up and look terrible, worse than third world countries.
Duh. All right. So consciously compromised United States Democrats. All right. We're just want to help everybody. And if ISIS comes around, we're going to like expose them and yell and scream and try and resist. All right. So let's look at 10 major incidents of left-wing violence and threats in 2025. Off the charts, right? Off the charts here in America. And these are just but a few. But they're the ones that really stand out. Probably some of you have heard of these. All right. So let's go through a few of these. The year opened with many on the left praising a man who allegedly murdered a healthcare CEO. And it ended with Virginia Democrats overwhelmingly voting for a man who fantasized about shooting his political opponent and wished death on his opponent's children. Jay Jones, now Virginia's Attorney General-elect, made the most blood-curdling endorsement of political violence I've ever seen from an elected official, and he justified it with this sentence: only when people feel pain personally do they move on policy. Jones apologized for the remarks, but he remained in the race, and he even shared a stage with none other than former President Barack Obama. I had hoped my fellow Virginians would reject this message in November, but Jones won the election. Or was he selected? I say selected. Setting a horrifying precedent for American politics. Jones' election victory highlights the negative partisanship in America, and it comes at the end of a truly horrifying year of left-wing violence. Here are 10 incidents of threats or violence aligning with the left's attacks on Trump and his party. Targeting Nazi Pete Hegseth, January 28th. Riley Jane English, 24, after she told officers she was carrying a folding knife and 2 Molotov cocktails. English traveled to Washington, D.C., intending to kill Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, whom she referred to as a Nazi, or, if that didn't work out, House Speaker Mike Johnson, according to a police affidavit. She also reportedly mentioned wanting to burn down the Heritage Foundation. All right, so she claimed the tattoo is a Jerusalem cross. So Tesla vandalism, we all saw this. Tesla, with the Doge, was basically destroying the Democrat Party's money laundering systems. As the Trump administration's Department of Government Efficiency, Doge, headed by Tesla CEO Elon Musk, cut wasteful and ideological spending in the early months of this year. Vandals targeted Tesla vehicles, dealerships, and charging stations. After being the darling of the left, it became a target because it was taking down the leftist money laundering systems. All right, like I said, agitators burned vehicles to the ground. Protesters marched with a banner reading, "Burn a Tesla, save democracy." Some agitators even published a map claiming to plot the location of every Tesla owner. Many of them left-leaning Democrats, all right? So what the heck? All right, so New Mexico GOP vandalized. Justice Department charged Jamison Wagner, 40, for 2 attacks arson attack on 2 Tesla vehicles in February featuring swastikas and the graffiti Die Elon, and an arson attack on the New Mexico Republican Party headquarters featuring the graffiti ICE equals KKK. Who started the KKK? The Democrat Party. National Jewish Museum. In May, a gunman yelling "Free Palestine" shot and killed a Jewish couple. And outside the National Jewish Museum in Washington. And so he faces murder charges, of course. Rodriguez had previously been associated with the Party for Socialism and Liberation, though the party said he has not been involved in the group since 2017. Right? Boulder, Colorado, bad place. All right, Molotov cocktail attack. Mohammed Soliman, 45, faces 12 hate crime charges for allegedly using Molotov cocktails on June 1st to attack people who marched in solidarity with the Israeli hostages taken by Hamas. He shouted "Free Palestine" during the attack and reportedly described Israel as a cancer entity. Soliman allegedly wounded 12 victims, one of whom died from her injuries the next day. Apparent revenge for Hortman. Vance Bolter, 57, murdered. So they're saying allegedly because he's under investigation and coming trial. Murdered former Minnesota House Speaker Melissa Hortman, her husband, and shot State Senator John Hoffman and his wife, both of whom survived. Bolter appears to have been motivated by opposition to abortion, and he targeted Democrats. The Center for Strategic and International Studies. Now, they say I have a little bit more information on him because I don't know who wrote this, but they're trying to paint him as an okay guy that leans right because they're trying to make this into a right and left thing, but they fail. They fail badly. All right, so I'm gonna stop that share and bring up this other one with this guy, and we're gonna see who he's appointed by, right? So this is very interesting. All right, so this guy looks like a total whack job to begin with in his picture, right there. Like, what is he? I think he's wearing like a mask, some type of mask over his head. So it goes on to talk about blah, 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 why he targeted them. And at 57 years old, he is being pursued in connection with the shocking deaths of blah, 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 an act that Governor Walz has characterized as targeting political violence. But what's interesting about that is that he was appointed by Walz. Can't see it where it's in here somewhere. Tim Walz. All right, so we know that Tim Walz, you look at Obama. Of course, Obama, the way the Democrats work, they have to have someone that's dumber than the president. So he picked Joe Biden. All right, so Joe Biden ran, and he had to have someone dumber than him, so he picked Kamala Harris. So when it went to Kamala Harris, she had to pick someone dumber than her, which was a real stretch, and she picked Tim Walz. All right, so, oh my God. So I'm looking for that. Where does it say? Tim Walz labeled Hortman's murder a politically motivated assassination. Says he supported Trump. He voted for Trump. He liked Trump. I like Trump. Right? Which is, I think, bullshit. I think they threw that in there. Oh, it must be down here. Okay, good. Where is it? Somewhere in here, Tim Walz basically appointed him. And he's always been part of the Democrat Party. But then, when he does this attack, he loves Trump, which is, I think, bullshit. So anyway, that clown right there, accused Minnesota shooter, was appointed by Tim Walz. It's right there in the title, okay? By Tim Walz and reportedly supported Trump. So reportedly, right? Disinformation. So anyway, Minnesota State reported October it has investigated 50 threats against Minnesota State commissioners, lawmakers, and the governor's office, more than double the 19 from last year. These threats targeted Republicans as well as Democrats. Alvarado, I said, what, 2 Democrats and the rest Republicans probably. And that was just hearsay. July 4th, 10 to 12 people wearing black clothing started shooting fireworks at U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement Facility, spray painting ice pig and FU pigs on cars and structures, right? So that was in Alvarado, Texas, and I think there was a guy that, yes, Joshua John killed 2 ICE detainees at a Dallas detention center before taking his own life. Very strange. So sounds like he was activated. Annunciation Church shooting. August 27, a man who legally changed his name to affirm a transgender identity shot and killed 2 children and injured 30 others at a school mass at the Church of the Annunciation in Minneapolis. Right? Kirk assassination. Of course, this was, supposedly by a transgender. Turning Point USA founder Charlie Kirk. Shooting came a few months after the Southern Poverty Law Center, which is notorious for comparing mainstream conservative and Christian groups to the KKK, which again was created by the Democrat Party to go after black men that were Republican, that turned to the Republican Party. All right. So hate map, arson attempt. Kirk assassination sparked more violence. Hennepin County Attorney's Office in Minnesota again filed charges against a man who allegedly made violent threats in retaliation for Kirk's death. All right, so El Paso, Texas, arrested 35-year-old Marquise and charged her with arson against a place of worship. So, there you go. Sounds like the leftists are a problem in America, not what they always say is the right wingers, right? And that's how they came after us, for J6 and all that kind of bullshit. All right, so now before I go into this next little reveal, so there were several years ago, 5 years ago, so where I would do personal one-on-one, using my intuition and help people. And so I was working with this one woman, and she liked it so much she got her husband. She was with Apple, right? So I don't know how to talk around it, but she was very high up in Apple. And so I was working with her husband. We had great chats and stuff, and we talked about all kind of stuff. And he's like me. He's like alpha male dude, and trying to get him into, being more spiritual and so forth. So he and I were talking. We had a great conversation, like I said, and he told me that he went to some of these crazy, events. It maybe be at somebody's home. Some of these guys that were, billionaires. It was a billionaire club, and they were getting invited because she was very high up in the company, and so he would be watching everything. And he said, he'd been going to these for like years, and he said, for a while they were like, they wanted people to become gay, right? And then when some of their group became gay and they came out, they'd all clap and they'd be all like joyful, and they loved that because it's basically part of a darker agenda, right? And so he's telling me this, and he says, and then they went from celebrating gay couples to transgender, turning into transgender, and they started celebrating that. And so these are companies, not all of them, but these are companies that are part of the destruction of America, guys, right? And the political class Democrat political class, part of the destruction of America. So now let me focus on just one of these very corrupt Democrats, right? We're going to look at the Colorado governor, and this is when, shortly after COVID, his partner, same sex, they became. He was the first gay governor, out gay governor, and in American history that came out. Of course, there's probably been a lot more before that, but and switch hitters and all kind of stuff. Probably a lot of political class with switch hitters, but get out of there. All these little links and crap that come up. So anyway, his partner for 18 years. So they've been together for 18 years. They got 2 children together. Of course, they must have adopted them, or I don't know. Maybe they were in a a normal relationship, and one of them had kids. I don't know. But anyway, they get together. They have 2 children, right? And so when which one was it? So Jared Polis is the governor, and his partner is Marion Reese. He basically got sick with COVID during the COVID time frame, and Jared was like, he proposed because we might not be seeing him again. So he went to the hospital. He survived after a couple of days, comes back, and then they end up getting married, right? While he's the governor. Now Jared is very successful. He's got $300 million, I think, and not like Nancy Pelosi corruption type, but he actually, through merit, I believe, earned that money through internet stuff. He had a floral online type thing. If I said the name, if I remember the name, you'd probably recognize it. But he's made a lot of money, and he's using that money to basically corrupt Colorado. So he was part of a group that basically came in and they started to turn Colorado from red to blue. Because I remember going to Colorado to visit a buddy of mine who was a tracker and survivalist and all that kind of stuff. Really cool guy. He went to Africa to help African villages and so forth. And he's done a really good job out there. But he basically said, I remember visiting him, and Colorado was red. It was completely conservative. Denver, living in Denver, unbelievable, great city, shithole now, of course. But this is what they bring in. And I don't care about, your sexual preference. I do not care. What I do care about is when you come in and you start to corrupt and change and destroy America, right? So this is what Jared Polis is doing. Remember, he's the one that said that Trump couldn't be on the ballot because he was part of J6, which we're now finding out that was all bullshit, right? And all the stuff that they tried to do on Trump is all bullshit. So, and of course we have Tina Peters, which he refuses to release because Trump has said that she should be free. So this is part, I believe, of the destruction of America, guys. Putting people like this in there, like I say, in the background, you do that kind of stuff, no big deal. It's not part of, the culture of God, right? God is between male and female, and anything else outside of that is not so much, right? So they're both Jewish, as you can see. So it does not matter to me what religion you are, what your political party is, all right? As long as you're upholding the Constitution and creating a safe environment for the people of your government, wherever that might be, however that might be, but they're creating a very negative environment. In Colorado, we've seen a lot of mass shootings. So there's some real problems in Colorado, right? So I think that government that's there right now is part of that problem. is part of the issue that's destroying America. Now, he being the first openly gay governor, he was soon to be followed by an openly lesbian in what state is it? Is it Washington State? No, Oregon. So Tina Kotek, yes, you can make that association with that last name if you want, but she is the first openly lesbian governor elected in the United States. So this is in 23. So this is something, and we see the problems that are happening also in Oregon, guys, right? With Portland and so forth. So, I mean, maybe the citizens, all the citizens, you know, are completely open to that. And if they want that, that's good. But the problem is you're coming in with this wokeism ideas, and they're a counter to, like I say, the American culture, what we stand for, and it should not be acceptable, right? So at some point, these people that I believe, have been selected to be in those positions, when we get fair elections, they all go bye-bye, right? I've said this, the Democrat Party as a whole absolutely goes away completely, right? The corruption, the lies, the mismanagement, and the outright fraud, as we're finding from the Democrat Party, is unbelievable. So speaking of that, Ilhan Omar's husband's investment firm removing names from their website. Now, why might that be? Because like, I think just like a year ago, they had like 100,000. Let me pull this up. Let's read through this silliness. Now, the reason why I want to come back to this is some of these governors and other politicians, whether they be senators or congressional leaders or whatever, they should, if they do crimes, they should pay for those crimes. There's a big movement to deport Somalis and Ilhan Omar. I disagree with that wholeheartedly, because if they've committed crimes, which most of them have, they should stand trial for those crimes and then go to prison for whatever length of time is determined for their crimes, right? So in 2022, this is just 3 years ago, her husband, Tim Minette, a political consultant and husband of said Omar, launched Rose Lake Capital. The firm was reportedly worth less than $1,000 in 2023, 2 years ago, but has quickly grown to manage $60 billion in assets. Front for fraud. Hello. The New York Post report revealed that as charges have mounted in fraud cases across Minnesota, Rose Lake Capital quietly removed the names of several Obama-era officials who have served as officers with the firm. Among those listed, former Ambassador to Bahrain, Adam Iriali, former Ambassador to China, Senator Max Baucus, DNC Finance Chair Associate Alex Hoffman, and former DNC Treasurer William Giroux. Former CEO of Amalgamated Bank Keith Mestrick's name was also removed. The removal of the names and bios of the Rose Lake officers took place between September and October after federal charges were handed to 8 individuals connected with the Minnesota fraud schemes, the New York Post reported. Wow. So yeah, Democrat Party goes bye-bye. Goes bye-bye. All right, the fraud is not just happening right now. It has been happening for decades. And a lot of these baddies are going to go down for it. All right. So I think that we're going to see, like I said, a market turn down sometime in the first quarter of next year after it goes higher, right? How much higher? I don't know. But I think it's going to get a little pump before it gets a dump. right? And maybe get to jump and then the pump, I don't know. So we'll see how it works out. But corporate bankruptcies surged in 2025, rivaling levels not seen since the immediate aftermath of the Great Recession, 2011, when silver prices spiked, right? And then they got crashed by the banksters. Banksters aren't crashing it, or at least not yet. I don't know. Maybe they will. But if they do, it's a buying opportunity because it's going to go up. Companies cited inflation and interest rates among the factors contributing to blah, 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 right? So you guys failed, right? You guys failed. You probably had a Democrat support, and once it went away, you failed. All right, so things are happening. Of course, we know that London, the bank of the banksters in London, the city of what's it? City of London, London City, London. So the banksters are funding the Ukraine war because every time President Trump basically tells Zelensky it's time to stop, he runs to England. And then he's like, and this keeps the war going. And the slaughter of Ukrainians continues, right? So let's look at some of the things that are happening over there. It is basically accelerating to the downside for the Ukrainian army, like I predicted it would. And it's happening on a very fast pace. It's picking up speed. Here's a little piece right here. This is Juliapol. They basically came in, they captured this city very quickly within less than a month. In the past, it would take them months and months and months to capture cities, right? They're capturing major cities that are well defended in less than a month now, all up and down the line, right? And the line stretches, like you imagine, from Maine all the way down to Florida. That's a long line, and they're basically kicking ass all along that line.
Following yesterday's video where the Russians stormed a Ukrainian headquarters within the city, the Russians then went on to expand the zone of control beyond the central parts of it, clearing their apartment complex buildings and pushing all the way to the western outskirts of the city. As we see with this located footage, the Russians completely Putin's.
All right, so as he said, the Russians are moving so fast that they came into their headquarters, and their computers and their iPhones with no password protection were still on. And so they just ran out the door just as they came, probably just before they came into the building, and they seized all. This is their headquarters with all the intelligence and all that stuff. Boy, they're going to be kicking some serious ass going forward, I promise you. So I look at these yellow lines right here. These are basically defensive positions that were formed. As you can see, the Russians have basically, have taken a lot of the Ukrainians' defensive lines. So one of the reasons why I want to show this is Juliapol right here. They're instead of coming straight in, which is the worst, way to come into a defensive line, they're coming in on the flanks. So they're taking the flanks of these defensive lines, and there's right over here. See if I can pull it up if it's in there. I can't really tell, but I think it's right up in here. So Zaporizhia, maybe this is it right here. So this is a fairly big city, and once this city is taken down, it's on to Odessa. Right, so they're coming at this. I would say probably within the next 4 to 6 months, they're going to take Zaporizhia, and then they're going to march all the way over to Odessa. So Odessa is already, which is the port that Catherine the Great of Russia basically took that and for Russia, and it was supposed to be a port city for Russia. And that's something that the Russians have, once again, pretty much through their missile strikes and so forth. And this is really hurting the Europeans because they get a lot of trade through that port and through Ukraine. So the Russians have basically started to close that completely down. So it's only a matter of time before the Russians, like I said over a year ago, the Russians would get Odessa. So it looks like sometime by the middle of next year, they're going to be pushing into Odessa, right? So very, very interesting things that are happening in Ukraine. Of course, you know, the Democrats support Ukraine tremendously. But here's another video that's basically showing how the Russians came in and seized all those computers and everything. Here's an actual video of that. So like I said over a year ago, the movement of the Russians across the battlefront was going to really start to pick up pace.
We are servicemen from the 50th Separate Motorized Rifle Brigade. We are located on Sobornaya Street, number 52. The building was taken by our military personnel of the 4th Brigade, which turned out to be the headquarters of the 1st Battalion, 106th Brigade of the Territorial Defense Forces of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Now we will show you the premises in its entirety. We'll film everything. Follow me. To your attention, this is the battalion commander's office. Come on in, film this. This is their flag. Brigade flag. The computer remained in place. Here are the radio stations, the commander's work cards, phones, tablets. The phone isn't even password protected.
All right. So I can tell you, like when my compadres seized all that intel, computers and other stuff when they did the Osama bin Laden raid, there was a lot of people got cleaned out after that, right? A lot of people, right? All over the world, right? So that's a treasure trove right there that they collected. They'll be able to track that into a lot of the Ukrainians' stuff. Of course, Ukraine, once they saw that that was compromised, they probably shut down a lot of systems. But that's tough for military too, because if you've developed communication, you know, through different means and so forth, it takes a long time to get to that process. Usually those are over secure lines and so forth. So to have those compromised, you have to build a whole new system, takes time. You're not getting communication downrange like you used to. So probably going to see this movement across the territory now pick up pace even more. All right. So I've been watching this over the last year and a half, and it's been, a little bit, less than, way less, like meters, 100 meters there, 200 meters there. And then it got to a kilometer. And these days it's 20, 30 kilometers a day in all these different towns and so forth, taking over cities massively fast now. All right, so the Nazis, the Ukrainian Nazis, have been funded by the NATO Nazis, and they used to be funded by the Democrat Nazis, is basically collapsing very quickly. And this is part of the strategy going forward. So, military action against these Nazi leftist groups in Ukraine by Russians. Now, how did Russia get back its country from the communists, from the deep state that basically came in and seized their country? Soviet Union, that was a deep state. What made it happen? Now, you saw on that one graph I showed you guys all of the rapes that were happening. It didn't show you the rapes that are happening to children, right? What turned Russia around that defeated the Soviet Union, the communism? Child trafficking, right? What is the number one child trafficking country in the world right now? United States. Democrat Party is the party of child trafficking, right? I'll leave you with that. All right, lots of love. Stay in the love vibration, and I will see you guys next time.
Morning! I am currently in the desert in between Arizona and Nevada, and today I am going to stay in a secret billionaire hotel in the middle of nowhere in the desert in Utah. This hotel, without a question, is going to be the most luxurious hotel I have ever stayed in my life. Everybody's been there. The Biebers, the Kardashians, Brad Pitt, Kanye West, you name it. Every A-lister in California has been to this hotel. Are you ready to find out how much it cost? $8,600 for one night. That's $60,000 for a week's holiday, and it's in the middle of nowhere. On top of that, there are only two options to get to this hotel. Option one, there is a very, very small airport 25 minutes away from this hotel that you can either go in on a helicopter or a private jet. Option two is you drive 4.5 hours from either Phoenix Airport in Arizona or Las Vegas Airport in Nevada. Either way, it's 4.5 hours from them major airports. And seeing as though we haven't made enough YouTube videos to buy a private jet yet, I've taken the drive option. After what this hotel has cost me, I'm going to struggle to fill the car up on the way back. Genuinely, I am really